Time for our focus report next, and today we head to the Ivory Coast, where the trafficking of fake and contraband drugs has gotten out of control. Around 40% of the medicines bought in the country are picked up on the streets. They are imported from as far away as India and China. The drugs are cheap and easy to find, and you don't even need a prescription. But more often than not, consumers have no idea what they're taking. The Ivory Coast is stepping up the fight against the illegal trade, as François Van Kat's team on the ground now reports.
Adjumé, the biggest market in the country. More than 2 million people shop here every day. It's the place to come for everything, including fake medicines. Roxy is illegal, but it's known throughout Ivory Coast for its miracle products.
That's for sore muscles. This one is also for body aches. This works if you have kidney pains, a sore chest, aching hands, feet. You massage this cream in and it will relieve you.
It's good for my health, but it's also good for my wallet. Instead of buying it for the equivalent of €1 or €2 at the pharmacy, I buy it here for half that price, and it's the same thing, perhaps even better.
The trade is prosperous. More than 8,000 women sell all kinds of drugs here. But some of them are not just harmless ointments.
Those who sell tablets are over there. You can find pain medication over there. Whatever you want, you can find it there. Vaccines, too, yes, whatever you want. You ask, and if it's there, they'll sell it to you.
Our cameras weren't welcome in the shop. As soon as they saw us, they began hiding the pills and creams under the sheets or in the bins. Roxy promises to do wonders, but these saleswomen are not doctors. They have no health training whatsoever. Medicines get exposed to the sun and the intense humidity. For healthcare professionals, street drugs without any traceability are a real danger.
They can be placebos or drugs without any active ingredients. We also find medicines with active ingredients that are not necessarily the right ones. If certain toxic substances are found in drugs, they can alter bodily functions, and this can be lethal.
Up to 40% of medicines consumed in Ivory Coast come from the street. It's become a highly organised crime syndicate.
You'll also find real drugs on the black market, put there by unscrupulous pharmacists. There are also crooked traders who go to China or India to buy entire containers of medicines and who, with the complicity of customs, bring them into Ivory Coast and distribute them on the market. Products like these antibiotics right here.
It's a complicated chain of corruption. So at this supply centre, security is paramount. From import to distribution, medicines are tracked by GPS. It's all about safeguarding the health of patients.
Someone who's ill goes on the street to buy, say, the antibiotic amoxicillin, which may not even be amoxicillin inside. He will take 2 tablets, but the dose needed to kill the bacteria isn't high enough, so he develops a resistance, and the drug is no longer effective. So he will then have to find another medicine, which will be even more expensive.
Luring people away from the black market is a challenge. Pharmacies now sell single doses of medicine and attempt to make it cheaper and easier for patients.
You know, a few years ago, to treat certain chronic diseases such as ulcers, hypertension, and diabetes, one had to pay for anti-diabetic or anti-ulcer treatments, costing the equivalent of 15 or 20 euros at the very least. But today, with the deconditioning we do in the dispensary and the laws around drug prices, we can carry out these treatments for less than 3 euros. But often, patients are not aware of this.
And if patients aren't aware, the illicit trade continues. But it's hoped a special cell to fight fake medicines will change that. It's a massive task.
It's a mafia. We know it's a mafia. They're rich, powerful people who escape justice. Even when they're caught, it's not always sure they'll remain in the grip of justice. This level of corruption makes our work difficult. But the health risks are so serious, and in view of these risks, they cannot be allowed to remain unpunished. And I think that those who are engaged in this trade, excuse my turn of phrase, but they are indeed assassins.
Trafficking fake medicines is more than 20 times more profitable than drugs. Dangerously increasing over the years across Africa, it's only going to get worse unless something is done.
For more, we can bring in Bernard Leroy. Bernard is director of the International Institute of Research Against Counterfeit Medicine. Thank you for joining us here on the program. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the government in the Ivory Coast is doing to combat the trafficking of fake medicine?
Yes, we are very impressed by the action of the government, who is now launching a very good campaign of prevention. But generally speaking, in all the African states, because that is a general problem in Africa, we have a problem with the government which are not committed to take action, which are using very poor laws, 6 days of imprisonment, for example, in Senegal for the big traffickers. Yeah. And there is also a very strong link with corruption. So our institute is trying to develop advocacy and awareness to increase the commitment of the government to get effective legislation really implemented, and also to take action with the prevention. And we are really encouraging this government.
It seems challenging because, as you watch from that report, it's more lucrative to get involved in the fake medicine trade than actual drug trade.
Of course. It's providing 20 times more. So low level of penalties and in the criminal procedure, but at the same time, the courts are not implementing the law. The courts, when the counterfeit medicine are coming, for example, from China or India, are never taking action at international level by international rogatory letter to identify who is behind and to freeze the money. And then for the transorganized crime, this is really now the most interesting type of activity.
Would generic medicines that are cheaper solve the problem?
No, because traffickers are now focusing on generic medicine. Of course, generic medicine are very important. The problem in Africa is mainly an economic problem, and that is the reason why the people are used to go to the street market. And of course, generic medicine are a first step. But now the organized crime is also interested by this activity. And the main country for generic medicine is India. And a lot of counterfeit medicine are now coming from India also.
Now, big pharmaceutical companies here in the West justify high prices for research. They have their patents in place for research. How can they help ensure that they can also market their products at cheaper prices in developing countries like in West Africa, in African countries? Can they help stop this problem?
Yes, I think they have to really try to have a special pricing for this part of the world, and also to help the government in their activity, what I said, to increase the commitment, to train their people, and also basically to change the mind of the population. I give one example. I think we could mix what we are doing against counterfeit medicine with program against analphabetism, because Chinese traffickers are making mistakes in writing in French on the boxes. If the mother is learning French and to read, she will be immediately able to see the mistake and then to avoid this type of medicines.
Bernard Leroy, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us here on the program. We're going to